Have you ever been in one of those stores in which there is nothing but lamps? Some of these stores are huge and display hundreds, even thousands of lamps. Some lamps are antique, some are new. Some lamps are plain, and some are ornate. Some of them are unplugged, and some of them are plugged in and showcasing their light. In a children's time on another occasion, I was describing one such store, and I asked the children which lamps they liked best. One of the girls said loudly, "I like the ones where the light shines out." I like the ones where the light shines out. There are over 300,000 Christian congregations in the United States. Some are antique. Some are new. Some are plain, some are ornate. Some are not plugged in. And some of the ones plugged in keep their light mainly to themselves. And just like that little girl and lamps, I think God likes best the congregation where the light shines out. But what does it mean to shine out the light in a world like ours? What is North Korea going to do next? If you live in South Korea or Kendrick, Julietta, and the Seven Ridges, you are following every move of another little Kim, other than Kim Kardashian. How do we shine the light in a world frozen by fear, flawed by distrust, and fractured by dissension? A world every day helplessly teetering on the edge of disaster. How is it possible to showcase the light as it shines out? But yet the world that we face as 21st century disciples is not all that different in this respect to the world of the first century. The world that Jesus' first followers faced was every bit as frozen and flawed and fractured, helplessly teetering on the edge of disaster. And we know that we cannot contain or control such chaos. We can only remain faithful and follow Jesus, whatever comes our way. We can only shine our light into the darkness. Today we read that both Peter and the disciple whom Jesus loved are given special attention. But there's also a focus on the future. The beloved disciple recognizes the Lord from far away and by his voice alone. And Peter responds to the announcement, "It is the Lord," by plunging into the sea and swimming to Jesus' side. Both these disciples demonstrate a faith without fear. They commit themselves by word, the beloved disciple, or by deed, Peter, to confessing and embracing the risen Lord. Before these disciples dive headfirst into their commitment, however, they receive a sign. At Jesus' instruction, they cast their net off the right side of their boat. And after a night of fishing futility, they suddenly are faced with a net full to bursting. It is at Jesus' word, with Jesus' specific directive, that the disciples' catch goes from nothing to not to be believed. The full to bursting, not to be believed net holds 153 fish. A specific number that has given biblical scholars way too much fun trying to figure out and pin down. Basically, though, this is a bunch of fish. Far more than any ordinary catch might expect. It is a divinely directed bumper crop. Jesus' disciples responded in obedience to Jesus' word, and the result was unexpected abundance. Now when St. Jerome, can I quote a Catholic in here? I'm sure I can. When St. Jerome commented on this text, he claimed that the 153 fish represented all the species of fish in the water. This means that Jesus' net, the gospel, was to be cast and gather all the peoples of this world. Again, the message is of a huge harvest, one that exceeds all human expectations. But besides that huge number of fish that were caught early in the morning, there is another huge detail to the story. Did you notice? The net did not break. The net held. However many fish for which the disciples would cast out their net, the immense haul did not rupture the net. The net held. The boat did not capsize. The fishing mission was filled to the max. But the net the disciples cast held fast. Instead of fussing about figures, it seems to me that the detail that is the most pertinent part of information about this story is that the net held. Every one of those 153 fish eventually were brought to shore by Peter. And this is completely typical of Jesus. Everyone gets included. No one is excluded or cut off. Whoever piles into the pool is welcomed into the fullness of the community. Whether these 153 fish represents all the nations of the world or just a big boatload of fish, the significance is the same. They all were welcomed into, they all became a part of the Jesus community. Now I know that there's lots of fish that we would like to cut loose these days. We'd like to slit the net and just let them go. But Jesus' final harvest in John's Gospel does not let a single one slip away. Jesus' invitation is to all nations, all fish, all persons, regardless of who they are or where they come from. So do you want to let your light shine out and be showcased in this despairing world, in these uncertain times? Take Jesus at his word and go fishing. That is, fishing for people. For all the people in the world. That is our disciple directive. To take the message everywhere. And to know and trust that the net, the gospel of Jesus Christ, holds and will not break. And what might our message be? One of my all-time favorite groups the Beatles, released the song P.S. I Love You in 1962. Ah, what a glorious day to hear that song. I love that title, P.S. I Love You. Well, the song isn't half bad either. But that is what this epilogue of John 21 is. It is a P.S. I love you to Peter, to the beloved disciple, to the community, and to all the generations of Jesus' followers that are to come. And that means you and me. P.S. I love you, even when you don't recognize my voice. P.S. I love you, even when you deny me in fear and bewilderment. P.S. I love you, even when you don't let your light shine. P.S. I love you, no matter where in the pile of 153 fish you find yourself. P.S. I love you, and walk with you, and make a fire for you, and feed you at dawn after a cold night at sea. P.S. I love you, and showed you when I was crucified, died, and resurrected for you. P.S. I love you, because I created you, and you are my artwork. P.S. I love you, my little fish. Glory be to God.